What's up, guys? Brett Okamoto from ESPN, joined by UFC lightweight Beneil Dariush, who I know that a lot of people are interested, excited to hear what his thoughts are on all the things that have been taking place in the lightweight division over the last couple months. But before we get to any of that, dude, I think the first thing I want to ask you, of course, is how is the recovery? How are things progressing with the unfortunate broken fibula that you suffered a few months ago?
Hey, brother. The fibula is actually really good. The leg is healed. The bone is fine. The issue I have a little bit of now still is a weakness in my ankle and then also in my Achilles. That was something I was not expecting just because I jumped in to PT right off the bat, right? So I didn't think that was going to be an issue. But for example, right now, if I do 5 rounds, whatever kind of training, whether it's grappling or striking, somewhere around the 3rd round, it starts to get weak, and chances of me rolling my ankle or something stupid like that happening increased by a lot. It almost happened on Tuesday, so that's one of the reasons why I said no to July. Just because, man, I don't want to go through a whole camp and just be constantly stressed about my ankle. Is it going to make it through this camp? Is it going to be strong enough? So we're just spending all our time right now still focusing on strengthening the ankle and just making sure we're good to go. And I think in a couple of weeks, if I just keep focusing on it, it'll be fine.
Yeah. And before I move on, are you covering your speaker at all?
I don't think so, unless the speaker's over here.
Yeah.
Oh, then
yeah, you sound much better now. I could hear you the whole time, but now I can hear you a lot clearer. Okay. I mean, it doesn't sound like you've had any kind of setback, right? Because I remember I talked to you about 8 weeks ago, and you told me 6 to 8 weeks before you would be like 100%. So it sounds like you're still pretty much on schedule. It's just,
yeah. I mean, so the way the doctor said it, because the doctor was like, he thinks of like a normal person as a normal. If we're talking normal activities, I was fine in like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
We were walking and I could carry my daughter, no problem. At 4 weeks, I was pretty much doing everything I wanted to do. But our sport obviously is not a normal activity. So that's where things got tricky. Normal standards, I've been healthy for the last 6 weeks. MMA standards, I just have a little bit left. I don't want my ankle to just, give out in a training camp. So I think I'm pretty much on pace to what I said. I wanted July, but August isn't that bad. I can be back at the end of August. So if they book me for something end of August, I'd be pretty happy.
What was the July date that they threw out there?
They threw July 23rd at me, and it was, man, I almost said yes, but just want to be smart with this one and take my time. So I said no, but I also know Islam said he wants to fight in Abu Dhabi in October or later on. So it was whatever. It wasn't like I was gonna get that fight anyways.
Okay. Well, how are you feeling now? I mean, we saw what happened with Charles. We saw what happened in Phoenix. That was a couple of weeks ago. And now Islam has been obviously pretty outspoken. In fact, I spoke to him. I don't know if you saw that interview or not, but of course he wants the title fight. What do you think is going to happen? Have you had any conversations with the UFC?
I haven't had any conversations with the UFC. I didn't see the Islam interview. I saw the one with Ali. I think that's the only one I saw. And too much going on in our sport. It's hard to keep track of what everybody's saying too. That's another thing. I'm not on the grid all the time, so it's a little bit tricky. As far as how I feel, man, the best way to put it would be like, in my mind, if I'm as good as I think I am, if I'm the best in the world, then it's everybody's food. All these guys are just food, and the only difference is the rotation. Like who's going to be first, for me to eat. That's basically how I look at it. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm not like jumping on it like, oh, Charles has to give me this fight. I could clearly say, hey, buddy, you always talk about how the top 5 never gave you the fight. We were scheduled to fight. We were supposed to fight in October of 2020. You bailed on me, and you said family issues. And then in December, you fought Tony Ferguson. Like, what the heck, man? So you're being kind of a hypocrite.
And if I really cared, that's kind of how I would come at this. I'd be like, dude, you're being a hypocrite. You deserve, you owe me a fight. Give me the fight. But I don't care. Just tell me who's next, and let's get to work. That's really how I feel right now. I just annoyed. Mostly annoyed is the way I would put it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I've said it myself that I do think the Charles versus Islam fight now does make sense. It didn't previously. I thought that the fight between you and Islam was a great number one contender fight. I even told you when I interviewed you that I gave you props, and I think the sport did as well, to say like, okay, I'll fight Islam before I get a title shot. Like all these other guys got a title shot without having to fight Islam, who I think a lot of people look at as maybe one of the tougher stylistic matchups in the division. So it's almost like, okay, if you do the 10-fight, 11-fight win streak, Charles versus Islam, I think that you could even wait, but I'm sure you don't want to wait, right? Like you want to fight this year.
Yeah, no, I don't want to wait, man. I want to fight. And if Islam gets this fight, cool. If I get the fight, cool. Like, I get it. Like, you can make a case for both of us. Like you said, Islam is on a 10 or 11-fight win streak. I have a win in the top 10 and the top 5. When I beat Diego Ferreira, he was top 10. When I beat Tony, he was top 5. So like, whatever. You can make a case for both of us. Honestly, I don't care. Like, just let me know who's next. Am I fighting Chandler? Am I fighting Dustin Poirier? Am I fighting Islam? I want to know if I'm fighting Islam. And by a miracle, am I fighting Charles? If that fight is actually happening, I just want to know what's going on next, and that's really where I'm at.
If obviously your first choice is Charles, of course, I imagine your second choice would be Islam because that fight was booked. Or like in a perfect world, if you don't get a title fight, who do you think you should be fighting?
Well, here's the thing. Let's talk timing. If we're talking about timing, if I can fight in August, whoever can show up August. So ideally, Islam would be the best because I think he's the best in the division. For me, fighting him is like fighting for a belt, right? We were fighting for the UFC belt. If not him, it would either be Dustin Poirier or Chandler. Those are the guys I'm thinking of. That's how in my mind it goes. So if I had to pick, if I had to put an order in, it would go Charles, Islam, and then you can alternate Chandler and Poirier.
Okay. What did you think of the whole, Charles steps on the scale, it's half a pound over, he's got an hour. There's talk of, there's some fiddling with the scale, and then, he loses his title, but he beats Gaethje. What do you think of that whole situation?
So it's not a good situation for neither UFC nor Charles. I know a lot of people say that Charles got screwed. Like, I feel bad for Charles. It wasn't a good thing for Charles because, I'm sure Charles did his thing. He wasn't going to miss half a pound. He's not trying to give up his purse. So I'm sure he was on weight like he said he was. I believe him. Mm-hmm. And as far as people getting on that scale and sitting on that scale and changing the kilos to pounds, totally true. All the time people do it. Like, I mean, I've seen it. I've been doing my practice, and I've seen people sitting on our scales and things like that. So I've seen all that. I see both sides. And, a lot of people say Charles shouldn't be stripped. Here's the problem. If you don't strip Charles, you can't give Gaethje the belt if Gaethje won.
Right.
That was the issue. The reason why they took the belt from Charles was because if we're having a title fight and the belt belongs to Charles, he didn't make 155. So they're not fighting for the 155 belt. So that's why they did it the way they did it. I understand why UFC did what they did. I understand why Charles feels the way he does. Like, it's just a poop situation.
Yeah. What about the fight itself? You learn anything, see anything there out of Charles?
Man, it went pretty much how I thought it was going to go. I picked Gaethje to win, but I said if Gaethje's smart. I said if Gaethje hits him and then moves, if Gaethje hits him and then moves, he'll be fine. And he did that a little bit, and he got 2 knockdowns, but he got overzealous. And man, you gotta understand, man, Justin really is a dog. Like, when he sees blood, he sees blood. But the thing with Charles is he'll go to his butt, he'll go to his back, not because he's like super hurt, but it's a comfort zone for him. He's very comfortable there. So when Justin cracked him, he could have probably stayed standing. But he said, if I stay standing, I'm going to take a couple more of those, and that's good night. So he's like, okay, he pulled guard, and he did it twice. And I think Justin couldn't differentiate between Charles being hurt and Charles just being cautious.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think though? And I mean, like we saw what happened in the rest of the fight. So it's like hindsight's 2020, I suppose. But do you think it's a mistake by these guys that almost maybe they respect his ground game too much that they're not following him there? Or do you think that they would get in trouble if they went down there?
Nah, I think it's a mistake.
Yeah.
Bro, I mean, if you're an MMA fighter and you just knock somebody down, go. I remember rewatching my fight with Diego Ferreira, and I remember Daniel Cormier saying it was a mistake for me to chase him down, and I, you know, because he was able to recover after I dropped him. Because he kind of did the same thing. I hit him with a knee to the body, and he pulled guard basically. People, you can call it a drop, you can call it a guard pull. I don't care. But Daniel Cormier is like, no, this is a mistake. You shouldn't have done that. Bro, this is MMA. I'm not trying to tell you I'm the best at striking. I'm trying to let you know that I'm the best at hurting you. Like, that's my job. Whether it's on the ground or standing, I'm looking at you as food. I'm coming to just, yeah.
You feel when we me and you have these conversations, and maybe you're just I don't know, maybe you were always this good at talking about it, and maybe we just weren't paying enough attention or something. But do you think like you're like you sound hungry, man? You sound like confident, hungry. You just sound like just mentally, like maybe from a confidence or just veteranship or experience. I don't know what it is, but do you just feel like a different level of yourself right now than maybe even previously?
You know, I think a lot of it has to do with just getting better over the years. Because, for example, when I first got to the UFC, and I remember training with Hoffa a lot. Hoffa was the man. I couldn't say the things I'm saying right now because I train with him on a regular basis, and he'd whoop my butt.
Yeah.
But like, you know, these days it's different. There's not a lot of guys that whoop my butt, and definitely not in MMA. Like I have to go find people in their sport. I have to go find someone in wrestling to do that. I have to go find someone in jiu-jitsu to do that. And same thing with striking. If I want to get my butt kicked, which I do in training, I go look for guys outside of my sport. I go look for the guys who are purist in terms, I guess, of martial arts, where they only do that one martial art, whether it's boxing, kickboxing, or any sort of grappling.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where it comes from.
And you know, when you are comparing yourselves to these other guys, or if you do that, and then, you know, when you see Charles win the fight, but like you said, in a way in which like you kind of expected, and everyone's kind of going crazy about Charles, like we got to stop doubting this guy, and this guy, you know, is right on that level with Khabib. It's too bad we couldn't have seen him fight Khabib. Like, are you looking at him in that same way? Like, is he that guy? Has he proven something like that everybody else is talking about to you?
It's hard to say, man, because it would be fun to watch him versus Khabib. It would, because he's all offense, 100% offense. While Khabib, most people won't realize this, but Khabib had a lot of defense in this game, a ton of defense. It's the reason why he didn't get hit. It's the reason why he could find his grappling position so well. He knew there's this idea of position before submission in jiu-jitsu. He had this concept down for MMA. He had this concept of position before damage for MMA. And I think he had that down better than anyone. And so for me, it's hard to like put Charles into that same level. But if we're talking about Charles, we have to talk about his style. If we're talking about offense, I don't know if anybody who is more offensive than him. I don't think I've ever seen anyone more offensive than Charles. He is reckless in some ways, but he makes it work. So it's an incredible style. So I don't really like comparing people because they're so different. You almost feel like you're comparing apples to oranges kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Last thing I'm very curious to get your take on is that, you know, when you talk about like, it's taken some of you guys a bunch of fights to get into the top 10 because you couldn't always get fights against the top 10. You know, like you're an example of that. Islam is an example of that. To an extent, Charles was an example of that. Like, what do you think are the toughest fights in the division right now? Like, if you look at, are they the names that we're so accustomed to hearing? Are they Poirier, Gaethje, like the Chandler, are they like, I look at the rankings and like 10, 11, 12 is Fiziev, Sarukian, and Gamrot. You know, like, are those the toughest fights in your mind, or are the toughest fights those guys who have been there and gone through it already?
I think there's a next generation coming that's incredible. I think that's the real goal, is to stay ahead of the next generation. I think some of the names you mentioned right now, they're in reality, they just specialize in one thing. Their focus is one thing. The next generation that's coming, they could do it all, and they could do it all well. And I think the next generation of the lightweights will be the best lightweights maybe we've ever seen. I think actually it will be the best lightweights we've ever seen. So the next generation, some of the guys you mentioned, some of the guys you didn't even mention. There's guys out there that you didn't even mention, and they're good. They're very good. So, man, I'm pretty stoked, because as an old guy, I have to stay ahead of these guys. So I have to recognize that I can't just brush these guys off. I have to recognize that they're doing things that I haven't seen before, that I have to learn it, and then I have to be able to apply it, and then I have to be able to apply it better than them. There's, as exciting as lightweight is right now because of all the drama, for me, that's way more motivating, way more exciting to look at the future and be like, man, there are guys like Armand coming, Gamrot. There's guys we don't even need to talk about. They're coming, and they're good. They're good everywhere. They're tough everywhere, and they're all dogs. That's the best part. They're all dogs, and they're all hungry, and they want to go at it, and that'll get me up in the morning. And I think that's one of the things I'm more excited about. But like all this drama, whatever.
I love it, man. Yeah, your any drama that's ever been around Beneil is all it does is just cycles back to you, just your competitive desire. That's where like the intrigue is with you. It's not the soap opera. Yeah,
because like I'm not really interested in being famous. To be honest with you, because being famous is kind of it's time consuming. Like I got to do this, I got to do that, and it's not easy. Like, you know, I don't mind doing interviews. I enjoy talking to people, but like 10 interviews, you know, 10 interviews is like a couple hours with my daughter or my wife. Yeah. I got so much going on. And then like, if I get on Twitter and if I get on Instagram, there goes another 5-6 hours a day or a week or whatever. It's just, that's time I could put towards the things that I love and things that I care about. So like, and at the end of the day, I just want to know who the best guy in the world is.
Yeah.
Who cares about your drama? Who cares about your stupid rankings? Man, like they don't mean anything to me. People are like, are you upset about the rankings? I'm like, I don't give a rat's behind about the rankings. Oh, they're like, well, they put you at number 6. I'm like, who cares? They could put me at number 100. Let me face the number 1 guy and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So last thing, and I'll ask you if you even want to do this. Do you want to guess what's going to happen? What's going to happen over the next 8-12 months of your career? What's 6 to 8 months? What's going to happen, Beneil?
6 to 8 months? 6 to 8 months. Let's see. 6 to 8 months. That's tricky.
Through the first quarter, through the maybe even first half of next year.
Man, I'm not getting the Charles fight. I don't think so. I mean, I should if we're talking about merit, but whatever. I'm not getting the Charles fight. So hopefully either Chandler, I get Chandler or Poirier. And then from there, I move on to fight for the title by that time. And I beat up whoever's there. Yeah. That's where I'm at. But yeah, it's just who's going to be my first meal is the way I look at it.
It's a great way of looking at it, man. I enjoy talking to you as always. Best of luck with the continued progression of the recovery. And, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what's next. Lightweight division is always unpredictable in terms of what's going to happen and what fights get booked.
Yeah. Thanks, brother. I'll keep in touch and I'll try to keep in touch.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the recovery. We'll talk to you soon.